Thank you very much. Hello everyone. Let's continue with Master YongHua's instructions. He's been talking about the rules in the Chan Hall. So let's continue.
就是不是在禅堂里边，也要不要有声音，不要令这个无心的道人的心跑出来。
Even if you are not inside the Chan hall, do not make noise. Do not make the cultivators with no mind to have thoughts.
Okay, he was referring to 无心的人,道人, the person who cultivates the way is a person who strives to have no mind. No mind here, it refers to no thinking mind, no discriminating mind, which is a clue for all of us to remember that when you cultivate, discriminate less. That's part of cultivation. So when you get to the Chan Hall, when you practice here, especially these intensive sessions during the Chan Qi, then you want to learn to discriminate less and less and less. Okay, to the point where you no longer discriminate and that you put an end to your discriminating mind. That's what he's referring to. Cultivators of the way with no mind. Okay, the Chinese are a little bit abstract in the word of the use of the word xin. Xin here also means heart, means mind, but mind has two types of mind. The mind that is a thinking mind or the discriminating mind versus the true mind. Everything is referred to the same thing. Okay, the true mind, that's what we will use when your discriminating mind no longer works. That's why the confusions is intentional, it's by design. And at first, it really used to bother me so much because when the teacher talks like this, which mind is he referring to? And especially since when you confuse, all you know of is the thinking mind or the discriminating mind. What is the true mind here, no one knows. Actually, it's the same thing. What it means is that it's exactly the same thing. It is a true mind that you use when you stop discriminating. When you open your wisdom, it's the same mind. Okay, so confusion is nothing that can be done about it. Okay, it's one and the same. When you confuse, it's a discriminating mind that you're using. When you have wisdom, okay, and you learn to stop the discriminating mind, that's when you are using your true mind. So it's the same thing at all. It's not like they're two different things at all. Yes, 8.
So, Master, let's say someone betrays you and you want to forgive them, but you have thoughts that keep coming up and you're unable to forgive them. Is that the discriminating mind functioning?
Are we talking about you or we? Who is we?
Someone asked me a question today, but it's personal, so I don't want to bring it up. But it's not for me. It's for another person.
Who is that person?
Can I not say it? Because it's personal. It's
Each person is different.
just a new person that just came to the temple not too long ago. So is that their discriminating mind?
If I don't know the person, I can only give you a general answer. For example, you said, Master, if I have and I have a thought of anger, a thought of affliction because I cannot forgive this person, my answer to you is yes. It is not your discrimination. It's not your true mind. It is your mind and ghost pulling your strings. So that's why each person is different. So my answer to that person is maybe. That's all I know. Go ahead, go first.
So that person would be me. I had asked Venerable Shinshun a question earlier.
Yes, it is your manic ghost. There you go. Okay, each person is different. Each case is different. It helps to be precise because even with you it varies as well. But that particular instance you talked about is not you. It's your manic ghost pulling your strings. How is that? No doctor is going to be able to tell you that. Anyone else? Very good. Next. Okay. So when you have put an end to your discriminating mind, that's when you say what is said here. The thoughts come out. Then you have thoughts. Okay. He's referring to thoughts that arise from your thinking mind. When you have wisdom and you have your true mind, then you also have thoughts. But those thoughts are called true thoughts, not false thoughts, if you will. Okay? So here would help, for example, to help make it clearer than the Chinese style of instruction, to have false thoughts. False here is an addition of mine. I added this to help you understand because it used to bother me so much. The Chinese language is designed to be vague and to be abstract. In English, we struggle with that. Okay, because in our culture, our language, we do not tolerate this kind of ambiguity. It causes confusion for us. Okay, so that's why this is a job of you instructors. You need to help people understand. Okay, the Chinese are perfectly happy with this, and no one asked. None of the Chinese people would ask, "What mind you talking about? What thought you talking about?" Because I would have asked if I was given a chance, but Master YongHua conveniently died before I could. Continue.
无形道人到这个无人无我的境界上，连心呢也找不到。
Cultivators with no thought are in the state of no others and no self.
Okay.
They even can't find their thoughts.
No mind here. It's to be consistent and corrected. That cultivators with no mind, no thinking mind, no discriminating mind. When the people who have no more discriminating mind, they don't discriminate self versus others. Well, bear with me. There you go, with no mind. Okay, so they don't, you see, the discrimination is self and others, me and you, okay? And they can't, and they can't even not find the thoughts that's the Chinese style, but they can't even strike up a thought. A false thought doesn't even arise. That's what it means here. It used to bother me so much. I said, your instructions are totally confusing. And I am unimpressed that none of the English-speaking people ever dare ask him or did ever care. Okay, this has to be explained clearly for you. Otherwise, it causes confusion. It confused me for years upon years and years and years. Frightens people like me, because if I were supposed to be teaching Chan eventually, because I love Chan, I really was afraid to have to explain it to you. When you quote these Chinese teachers, they keep on talking like this, and no one really understands. And no Chinese dare ask them. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. Admittedly, when I read this slide, two things happen. Number one, to your point, I don't understand. So the next thing my mind does is it tries to apply a theme song to this slide to help. For whatever reason, that song is by the Pixies. It's called "Where Is My Mind." I'll just put that out there for context. But I'm really curious, and I've been thinking the past couple of evenings listening to you. Your Dharma talks are so interactive, and I'm so grateful for your approach to allowing for spontaneous questions. But and when we're listening to these recordings, Great Master YongHua does not answer questions like ever. So I'm just really curious, what was it like? You mentioned you were afraid to ask, or I don't know if I heard that right, but what was it like to ask him a question? How would he interact with people?
Maybe there is a language issue, translation issue, meaning that at the time in 1971, the translator were not clear themselves, and therefore, even if Master Shena explained it to them, they wouldn't be able to understand themselves. So it's not fair for us to say that why didn't he explain or why didn't people really ask, because no one understand what he was talking about. And the translation really was not up to par yet, okay? And this is where I fault my generation. You cannot blame my generation for not asking questions, but I fault my generation for not explaining to you what the Chinese mean. This instruction is so important, because this is what differentiates a good teacher from a confused teacher, a good no advisor from a average instructor. Okay? And this is what you need to know in order to differentiate one from the other. I would not go, you cannot go very far with a non-good no advisor. Because if they don't understand this, they cannot teach you. Never mind about I just gave you the answer earlier. No, it's not your thought. It's about your manic ghost that's planting thoughts in your head. It's even more advanced. But the point here is that unless you have a clear instruction of this, you will cause problems for people in their Chan practice. I'm lucky that I finally resolved the question, the doubts, because you can't really understand the Chinese the language is too abstract. They're not incorrect, but they're abstract, and that's therefore at the advanced level it makes sense. Okay. If you take it out like I did for you here, no mind, no thought, no discriminating mind, and so forth, it helps you right now. Up to the next level, then I have to explain to you again. Okay? But my primary concern right now is to make sure you understand this stage so that you don't give up and you say, no, this is nonsense. Okay? I don't get it. And it seems like my teacher doesn't get it. And the guy who gets it is dead already. And for us, it's not acceptable for Westerners, especially modern era people, it's not acceptable. If I spend time to do this, especially with us who are busy, we don't have a whole lot of time. We don't want to waste time doing these things if people don't know what they're talking about. I would not. I'm unimpressed. Okay. And they can't even find their own thoughts. What it means here is they cannot give rise to thoughts, make that correction. It has to be, we have to explain it as per the audience needs, not just simply translate into Chinese, from Chinese to English. It doesn't make sense to us. And to me, this is what, again, I stress. People my generation, they fail your generation if they don't explain it for you. Okay? I'm taking a risk to explain it in details for you and adding a few more things in square brackets to denote that this is my addition. But it helps you right now. I'd rather help you right now than for you to give up and think of me like an idiot. Okay? And say, you Chan teachers, a bunch of idiots. You don't know how to teach us. But once you get past this thing here, you go up there, then you say, of course, the Chinese is a better language than English. For this kind of instruction. Okay? And it's great. The Chinese language is far superior, and so is the Korean language, so is the Vietnamese. Old Vietnamese is far better than New Vietnamese because it's based on the ancient old Chinese language here. Okay? But it will happen a lot easier when you go up there, if you understand right now. Okay? When you're up there, you say, of course. Yeah. It's obvious. Okay? But to me, this is where people, my generation, your generation, when you start, you yourself find yourself teaching Chan meditation, you have to help. Even now, I have to help the Chinese because the Chinese are now becoming Americanized. They say, hey, what are you talking about? So now they have to come to us to get this because they, too, are impatient. They're going to quit. They say, yeah. They all due respect. You don't know what you're talking about. And I feel that I'm sorry that I am offending a lot of you instructors and teachers and so forth. There are two types of teachers. Teachers who are paving the foundation for you, pointing in the right direction, give you the right expectations, the right goals, like you. Okay? But then you'll be encouraged to go a little bit higher to better teachers. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay? Yeah. We cannot leave this ambiguous like this to the Chinese. It doesn't work like that. Because of what happened too back then. Yeah. Master Hsuan understands this, but I don't know what happened when he was alive, when his students were teaching Chan at all. Because if I were there, I was, there learning with his students, I would ask these questions too. I say, what are you talking about? Please. I don't have time to waste with you. Seriously. In all due respect. I respect your clothes, I respect your position, but you have to also respect my time. Takes two to tango. Yes, two.
Thank you, Master. My extreme gratitude for you taking the risk to explain this. The closest way I can describe slides like these, and also generally trying to learn Buddhism from a foreign language, it's kind of like trying to embrace a sequoia tree. Like as big as I may be, I'm not going to wrap my arms around a sequoia tree, much less wrap my head around it. But I can appreciate being in the presence of it, and I know it's a big deal. I know that it's old, and I know it's profound. And on behalf of some of the native English speakers, I just wanted to share with the Vietnamese and the Chinese speakers that what we're looking for is the substance of the words. It's not a mechanical reproduction of what the words are. There's a substance and a wisdom in the stories that are being shared that we're most interested in, that I've heard people ask about time and time again. It's not, is this a one-to-one translation? I just wanted to share that and express my gratitude.
Yeah, well, thank you for pointing it out. You see, this is a problem with the Chinese style of teaching Chan, because most Chinese, too, they don't get it. And the overwhelming majority of them don't get it either. And therefore, it's too inefficient for me, the Chinese style of teaching. Okay, meaning that most of them don't get what he's talking about. You know, if you ask any Chinese right now, most Chinese right now, in your generation meaning that if you have to come to my temple, it's because you belong to this generation. If you understood this, you wouldn't have to come to my temple anymore. Okay? That's a fact. If you have to come to my temple, I would tell you that none of you understands this. Even many enlightened monks I met recently, okay, they don't understand how to explain this either, because they're at the border. They just barely made it. They just made it through, and they're not advanced enough to understand the purpose, what the contents of this message here. His Chan teaching is very, very advanced. Goes very far. And this is another reason why I take time to discuss it with you, because I want you to appreciate how profound his teaching is. It's on the low end of the certain teaching. Master Huineng is upper end on the certain teaching, top-notch certain teaching. Master Hsuan is teaching on a low end of the certain teaching. It's not low level at all. I can't think of many teachers, including Xu Yu, including all those teachers I know, including his disciples, who's able to explain like this to you. That's why it's worth repeating, and it's worth spending time to explain to you. Okay, and number 3, I want you to know that you Chinese people or Vietnamese people or Korean people and so forth, you have your old language there. It has tremendous wisdom. Don't abandon it for the sake of Western languages and Western ways of expressing ourselves. Okay, your old languages are much more profound. It has so much depth in there that even your teachers don't get it now. And so it's funny, that's why Master YongHua said, I brought Mahayana to the U.S. so that U.S. can bring it back to my country and all the countries of the world. It's happening right now because you guys don't understand it anymore. Continue.
你这儿一有种种的声音，它这个无形就变成有形，这是障碍其他人修行。
Once you make all kinds of noises, his without thoughts would become with thoughts again. This is to obstruct others' cultivation.
Okay, and this is important. If you make noises, this is why when you go to a Chan hall, you try to be quiet and they have rules like you don't get up until the bell rings, and when you sit when you're supposed to sit, you walk when you're supposed to walk, and so forth. Okay, so that's why he says, you make all kind of noises. These people are practicing. Okay, and his state of having no thoughts would, from his state of having no thoughts, of no thoughts would arise. This is how you explain it, okay? This is how you translate it to help the people. Again, you hear because you don't understand this, because you understand this, you are a waste of my time, okay? So he said, from his state of having no thought, meaning no mind, no discriminating mind, discriminating thoughts would arise again, would arise. Okay, that's it. So that's what happens. They're sitting there meditating, and you should. Okay, you have to take advantage of this. You don't realize how priceless it is to have this opportunity for you to come, and the time where we dedicate ourselves, we make sure we cut down on obstructions, on interactions, on a lot of activities to make the temple as with minimal activity as possible, so that you can come here, so that we all know during this Chan Qi here, it's a time where we want to minimize the noise and the interfering obstructions and so forth. It's extremely priceless time. Okay, so that's why you walk into the Chan hall, you have those rules. Okay, that's understandable. Okay, the Chinese are very rigid. They enforce the rules. The Japanese, the same thing. They learn from a Chinese. They even like beat you up and stuff like that. Okay, but it's a time when you go in here and you want to avoid, by all means, obstructing the people who are cultivating, because you're creating offenses. When you have this person who have no thoughts, who have no mind, sitting there, and you disrupt them, okay, and they get afflicted, okay, you are in serious trouble, because you're obstructing these heavy hitters from their spiritual practice, and therefore you won't have a prayerable chance yourself to get there. It's how dangerous it is. So the Chinese is correct. All these rules are correct. However, it's just that you stupid. You're going to do it anyway. Okay? And that's what happens when you go to the Chinese temple, the Gao Min Si, or whatever the known temples in China. It's very advisable when you go to a Sonbang in those big temples in Korea. Yes, absolutely. You don't want to make noises. You don't want to disrupt them, because you are creating offense. It's true. However, we can't help ourselves. Okay, and that's why you will obstruct them, and that's why you are all in big trouble, unless we help you. Yes, 8.
On the slide, from his state of having no thoughts, discriminating thoughts would arise?
Yes.
You forgot the no.
Having no thoughts, okay. Okay, there you go. Thank you. See, at least someone understands what I'm talking about. And that is obstruct others' cultivation, a serious offense. Very serious. This is why you guys who practice meditation nowadays are getting nowhere. Because no one dare tell you that you should not obstruct people during a chanti. Okay, and that's why I'm using him to remind you, yes, I have your back, but in the future, when you go to places and you don't necessarily have that kind of support anymore, you don't realize how important it is. For us, we are kind of like we're doing nothing, we realize really nothing doing something and nothing, anything important. Actually, we are covering so much for you that you don't realize, because you go to those places, Gao Min Sư and Zhen Ru Sư and all those fancy places in China, and you practice. Or you go even to the Paok monastery in Myanmar or temple in Thailand, and you happen to have someone who's have no mind, no thoughts, whatever, even a fourth stage Arhat, and you make noises and they get afflicted. Oh boy, are you in trouble? And they're not. And this is why nowadays it's so difficult for you to get fruitions, because you get stopped. You go to Paoksu, the guys there in the lower range of the Arhats, you obstruct them, you will have a hard time getting there, let alone getting higher. You understand? When the people have Kung Fu and you obstruct their spiritual practice, you are in a lot more trouble than you realize. It's very dangerous. That's why these rules are designed to help you. They're not nonsense. They are very, very important. And fortunately, now, for Westerners like us, we go to a temple like this. What's the big deal, man? Hey, look, he's sleeping anyway. But you obstruct one of them who has Kung Fu, you deep potatoes. It's not a casual thing at all. That's why the Chinese, this system is correct. But we have an expedient where we know that you are irreverent, you're insolent, you're ungrateful, and so forth. There's nothing we can do about it, okay? So we have to give you a chance. But you beware, you go to the other places, you better follow the rules. That's why these people come to our temples who went to other places, like Master Hsing Yun's temples and all the Chinese temples and Korean temples. Say, oh, that's not Chanqi. Chanqi, these Chanqi, they are goofing off. They're eating, they're playing, they're talking. They don't observe the schedule. They get up anytime they feel like. Go Forest.
Emitofuo Master. Vô tâm đạo nhân, the no mind cultivator. That means that what I understand is a no discrimination mind cultivator. When he already have no discrimination mind, then we make noise or doesn't make noise. He shouldn't discriminate it, right? Or he just start and get into the path of no discrimination. Because I thought if he's in samadhi or he's high level, so it doesn't matter. The kids say anything or running around, he's not supposed to be afflicted.
If that were the case, why should I bother telling you? Are you questioning me now? Are you Vietnamese guy?
I just don't understand the word no discrimination mind, cultivator. If he's already have no discrimination mind, then doesn't matter that we make noise or not.
That's why you guys are so stupid. You only read this and you say, oh, it's no discriminating mind. Guess what? I thought the same way too. This is what someone has to tell you. It's not like that. When he's in samadhi, he has no discriminating mind. But when you disrupt him, he says, what the hey? I thought this is a real Chan temple. This is a Chan chi or what? You understand? I came here. I took vacation. I had to lie to my wife. And what do I have? A bunch of amateurs. And they claim they're doing Chan Chi. You understand?
Yes, Master, I understand it now. Yeah.
Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. Having been the only paleface with extremely crinkly, noisy pants walking into a Chan hall full of meditators for the first time, this slide really hits home for me because I remember feeling like I cringed each time I made a single noise sitting next to people sitting in full lotus incredibly still. And I really appreciate how Great Master YongHua, with your assistance, is describing this, because it hit home with me immediately what he's talking about. My question is, inevitably, to your point, I will make a mistake in a Chan hall and afflict someone who's cultivating. What do I do when that happens? What's the best thing for me to do?
It's not a whole lot you can do. And that's why I mentioned casually. A few weeks ago, I said, I have to repent on your behalf because you wouldn't be able to do. You would not be able to repent yourself. So that's why if I didn't repent for you, you come to our temple, our Chan Chi, and you're creating all sorts of offenses. That's why you're getting nowhere. This is why all these cultivators go to China and all these places, all these Chinese temples. They're getting nowhere because they are creating more obstructions, more offenses. They are creating blessings. This is one of the big issues. I'm pretty sure. I wasn't there. I was not a recipient of such practices. So I'm pretty sure Master YongHua had to do it for them as well, because otherwise you have no prayer of a chance. If you obstruct anyone who's higher level than you, never mind by the guy who have no thoughts, how on earth are you going to have a chance to go up there yourself? And that's why, even though his disciples are pretty stupid, but what I learned from them is that they said some things that, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. And then later I understood why, because of all this put together. Okay? So it's a lot more involved than you think. And let me remind you, these Chan Chis are extremely, extremely invaluable, priceless. Yes, it look like we are really doing nothing. There's no one cultivating. But if you cultivate 1 hour, or you don't realize actually you're sitting here with a lot of people you can't see who are cultivating. Okay, they come here to take advantage of it. Don't you get it? If you stupid people don't come here, doesn't mean that we don't do Chan Chi. We do Chan Chi because it's for a lot of people who come here to practice. And they need our protection. They need our help. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. You pale-faced people and yellow-faced people, you don't realize what you have. That's why you come in here and you have an irreverent mind, and so forth, and say, yeah, go ahead. Your offense, you take it with you. Yes, 5.
From Jane Climber, do the kids running around create offenses?
Yes, they do, of course. But guess what? We have to cover for them as well. So all the teachings from the Asian temples where you keep the kids in line and be quiet and not run around, not break things and so forth, it's correct. But it's not going to work in nowadays anymore. Kids have to be allowed to run around, in my mind. Because if you constrain them, they get frustrated. It's not healthy for them. That's all. Trust me. You are not taking advantage of it because you're stupid. But all the people who are coming here, they practice here. Trust me. It's a real big deal. Without help, without protection, you're not going to make it. Because that's how important these qis are. Okay, anything else? So just for you to come sit for an hour is an incredible blessing. Trust me, because you have a lot of people cultivating here, who are much better than you. Continue.
This is wrong. So it would be best if we can keep silent. We can talk about necessary things.
Okay. Now, if we must talk about important things, not necessary things, but it's okay, it's Chinglish, we can live with that. The point here, he's saying that you should be quiet, but only when it's important things, important thing you need to talk about, you talk about. But you see, this is where it's a little bit confusing for you, okay? So we're not supposed to make noises, but we're supposed to talk about a necessary thing or important things. What about when we talk about important things, you are disrupting others who are cultivating? What happens? You see, so this is where the Chinese style of instruction is a little bit confusing to me. For me, it's very clear. I'm going to come here to the Chan Ho, I'm going to create offenses. I can't help it. You can't help it. Okay? So therefore, someone has to be responsible for those offensive visual books. I'm the one who put it on, not you. Okay? I'm the one, that's why they come here to practice. Okay? That's why you come here to practice, because of me. So that's why traditionally the Dharma host of the Chan Chi is very important. Not just the location. Nowadays, it's for the Chinese location. Actually, they only go to, the temple of Master so-and-so, Master so-and-so. No! You better know who's the host of the Chan Chi. That's what matters. That used to be the case of Master YongHua. Now it's not anymore. I was there in his temples. To me, it's total waste of time. It bugs the heck out of me. Continue.
时候要小一点说。免得这无形道人呢，摇动他这个心。
But should talk in lower volume to avoid shaking the thoughts of the cultivator with no thought.
How do you shake the thoughts of a cultivator with no thoughts? How do you shake the thoughts? Can you find the thought and say, hey, this is a milkshake now? Huh? Hey, you Korean people and Chinese people, how explain that? You should, it's your language. Moving. That's all it means. Dong. Here is to move the mind. Move here, that's a language we want to preserve from a Chinese. That is, move a cultivator with no thoughts, meaning that you move his mind. You irk him. He may have no thoughts. You come over and you take a pin and you poke it. Hey, are you alive or what? How come you haven't moved for the last hour? Say what? What kind of Chan Chi is this? What kind of temple is this? I thought I came to a real Chan Chi temple. I thought I came to a temple founded by Master YongHua to practice. Okay. So the mind moves. Okay. There's no translation, just no explanation, just understand the jargon. Continue.
是第一次在这个国家来举行，这个14个礼拜的禅期。今年无论如何要把它做圆满。
This is our first 14 weeks Chan Qi in this country. No matter what, we should fulfill it perfectly this year.
How do you fulfill a Chan Chi? No matter what, we should complete it, not fulfill. Well, in English, this is all we care about. At least you understand what we're going through, and because it's difficult to sit and meditate for 14 weeks or 100 days approximately. So you should complete it well, meaning to the best of your abilities. Okay, this is what it means in English. Yuanman here in Chinese is perfection, but the Chinese also mean it's, your best of your abilities. So some of you will perfect it, some of you will not. Okay, so you cannot translate it literally like that. Okay, and it's important. In prior years, I didn't dare shake the tree, but because those people don't clarify for you. It's none of my business. It's not my job to clarify for you. Okay, I defer to them, to them people. Now I can't wait anymore, and you are way beyond them, so I can't expect them to clarify for you. I have to clarify for you. So you're the one who's forcing the resolution. Okay. That's your blessings. You're helping them. Before, I didn't feel the urge to do it. Because now you're at the stage where where unless I explain it for you, they cannot. All right. Yes, 5.
We have a comment from Apo. Master, thank you for hosting Chanchi, giving us protections and repenting on our behalf.
Which apple is it? I have a lot of apples. Yes, some are sour, some are sweet and sour. Which apple are we talking about?
No, not this one. Oh, WMT.
Make up your mind. You're welcome. Continue. And trust me, the more people, more of you come. I mean, these cultivators, they don't ask for much. All they ask for you to follow the rules and so forth. You can't even do that. So the more you come, the more we have to cook. The more we have to clean. This girl here, that's how she does all day, cleaning. Okay, so trust us, it's a lot of work for us. Don't think that we're that crazy about it, but that's what we do, okay? So that you have a chance to cultivate. Take advantage of it. Continue.
Master, you have 51 viewers on YouTube.
Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. So what are the requirements to be a good Chanchi host, besides protection and good snacks and free meal?
I don't know, because I don't know what, I haven't met one yet, honestly. So I don't have a standard. Master YongHua would be a good host, but he's dead already, so I haven't met anyone yet who I would consider to be a good host. I've been to great temples, very famous temples. Their instructors are pretty good, but what the effects for the Thai system or the other system is that they only cater to a limited number of high potential individuals, and you guys are basically ignored. I'm different. I look at you as having equal, well, it's like here in America we have a term, equal opportunity. Okay, everyone has a chance. The Chanti is for everyone. Okay, for the pale faces, well, the yellow faces, the black faces, and red faces, and for he, for she, for it, for binary, for the 25 different kinds of gender discrimination. Here is for everyone. We don't care. Okay, it's for everyone. Okay, and every one of you has potential to make it. And we can simply say that I will only pick the ones and so forth, and that has the best potential, and I do it. And then it's not good enough for me. Here in the United States, we believe in giving everyone a fair chance. Every one of you is, as the last president said, you are very special. And isn't that how he goes after that? I speak to you in language you all understand. You understand? Someone showed us that photo of his after he talks about these stupid things. It's very self-satisfied kind of thing. When I see people like that, I don't mind clowning around. I'm not as much as a clown as such people, Well, anyway, the point is that to me, to only focus on the people who have the highest potential, okay, is a big mistake. I think that's what Master YongHua made. He invested in the people who have high potential only. I invest in every one of you. If you want to come here, you want to be taught, I will invest in you. Why? Because you're the future of Mahayana, each and every one of you. Because each and every one of you is a Buddha to be, if given the proper conditions, the proper opportunity, the certain teaching will help you just like this. You understand? This is the difference between a certain teaching and gradual teaching. Gradual teaching is that, you're not there yet. I don't have time to worry about you. Okay, I let my disciples worry about you. The Chanchi time is everyone is very special. You know what I mean? And therefore, we need to give every one of you the same chance. Because even with the one like right now, who's high up there, now their progress is very slow because they're nearing their capacity, the max capacity. You down here, I still have quite a ways to go. We cannot ignore any of you. You might go up like this, past this guy. You see? So that's why we don't want to ignore anyone. That's the nature of a certain teaching. Everyone has a chance to make it and surpass each other like crazy. I've seen people going ahead, like Xian Shun used to be fourth stage Arhat. Long time ago. I said, wow, how come this girl gets a fourth stage so fast? And all of my disciples are plucking along, I can't keep up with you. And then all of a sudden, they surpass her. For a long time. And now she's vice abbot. Not because she really deserves it. She just can take more beating than you. Yes, 5.
We have one comment and one question. A comment from Diego Alfonso. Emitofuo, Master. I'm so grateful for you, Master, and the sangha. When I listen to Master YongHua instructions in your lecture, I really don't understand it. The teaching looks very simple, but when you break it down, it's so profound and wonderful. I'm so grateful, Emitofuo, Master.
You're welcome. Next.
The question from Brady McBride. Are we special or just profoundly committed?
Are we special or just what?
Profoundly committed.
Profoundly committed. You're both. That's why you're so special. Okay? Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're still special to me. That's what the Chanchi is supposed to do, I feel. And I feel a little bit the way the Chinese Chanchi and the way they do it, I feel it favors more the people who have tremendous potential. Okay, only because they don't know how to deal with the low end level, and when I looked at the way Master Huineng taught his disciples, I don't see the discrimination at all. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. I find that so interesting. I don't know if it's concerning. I'm not sure what the feeling is I get from that, because as someone who works to train people, the lower levels are many times the hardest to train. Like when
They're annoying. You
right.
guys so stupid. Sometimes, why me? Why don't you go somewhere else? Why do you have to come to my temple? Now I have to take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to deal with the simplest questions sometimes, but that's the foundation, right? Like, that's the most important part of cultivation, is training the low-level people so they can grow.
How about this? How about this? Because I ask all of you monks and nuns out there and all of you teachers out there, why do you have to discriminate between low and high level people? I don't get it. Our jobs is to create this an opportunity for you. If you want to take advantage of it, come and take advantage of it. You don't, others are taking advantage of it. Trust me. Okay? There's no need to discriminate. Everyone can take advantage of it and try to your best of your abilities. That's all. That's all it means to me. Because I'm trying to remind you that this is an opportunity for us to plant blessings too. If I put this on and I say, I'm going to only worry about the one with high potential and high level and let people, other people go somewhere else because and so forth, then I'm missing out an opportunity to create blessings for myself too. We all have to work. I'm working too. There's no need to discriminate. I feel that it's because I was discriminated because I was not Chinese enough. I was not conforming enough. Especially you Korean people or you Vietnamese people or Chinese people are looking at us and say, you are not Vietnamese enough. You are not Chinese enough. You are not Thai enough. You don't understand. No, precisely. It's because you don't understand. That's why you need to learn to be more patient with you. It's called cultivation. I cultivate too, differently than you. But I cultivate too. Okay? We're all cultivating. These qis are very important for us. It looks so casual. It looks like we're not doing anything but clean the bathroom or doing dishes and cook and so forth. We're all cultivating. We're helping each other to make this happen. In the future, when, in 10 or 20 years after you guys are so established, it would start coming more and more. And then you say, nope, sorry, we can't take you anymore. And then, of course, I have too many temples. I don't need to say, you look familiar. Have we met somewhere before? And then you say, eh? I can't hear you. Continue.
第6个礼拜正开始，第7个、第8个礼拜也就来了。
The 6th week has already started. The 7th and 8th week would follow.
You understand? I want you. I mean, I'm really removing the covers because I'm not referring again to them anymore. We need to set up our own standards and tell people about this Chan Qi technology here in the U.S. It's really American now. We have our American standards. Okay? I call it American for a reason because I feel it's better than the Chinese, it's better than the Korean, it's better than the Vietnamese, it's better than the Thai. We have our own style of doing the Chan Qi. And it's okay. If people don't understand, it's okay. But eventually, in 10, 20 years, you really see many of you out there, and you all go all over, and people recognize who you are, where you came from. Say, oh, I've been doing a Chan Qi at a Wei Mountain Temple, and every time we do a Chan Qi, maybe 2 or 3 of us maximum per day. Okay, we need to put our foot down, and I'm no longer deferring to them. I don't care what they think. Okay, because I want you to be trained properly. We don't need to defer to the Chinese style anymore. We learn, we pick the best from them, pick the best from the Korean, pick the best from the Thai, pick the best from the Japs and the Viet and so forth. Okay, that's American, and the results speak for themselves. Continue.
为了第9个礼拜呢，我来跟你们大家一起努力。从第9个礼拜开始，所以现在你们就要练习不讲话。
At the 9th week, I will apply effort with you. I can start on the 9th week. You should all practice to not talk right now.
Okay, so Master YongHua says, this is where he says, I need to meditate too like you. It's not like I need to apply effort. What he means is that I need to work. I need to meditate. Okay, I feel like meditating, but I can't. So I have to wait until the 9th week when things are more settled, things are more under control, and I will, on the 9th week, at the 14 weeks, so on the 9th week, I'll be in control. I will sit here with you as well, and meditate with you as well. And the practice not to talk as well. He encouraged them to not to talk. To me, I would not. I mean, if the Chinese, the Vietnamese want to do that, fine. You have your own Dharma doors. I respect that. There's nothing wrong with your Dharma doors. But for me, not talking would deprive you of this one thing in the sudden teaching, being able to ask questions. Because when you're talking, you're not supposed to text on your phone either. You understand? Not talking means that you don't just not talk here. Okay? You can't even, you're not supposed even to text your mom. Hey mom, I'm fine. Don't worry, he's not crazy. Okay? That kind of thing. That's why there's certain things about the Asian style, of the Jap styles and the Vietnamese style, and they're not talking. To me, it's not necessarily a good practice. But that's fine. If you feel that it helps you, by all means, go for it. Okay? You learn the good practice that works for you, do it. It's perfectly okay with me. Okay? We open-minded. We embrace all sorts of things. People come here and say, I want to do Hua, no problem. You want to not talk? Don't talk. It's okay. Whatever you do, it's okay. Okay? Yeah. We practice all types of Dharma doors. Whatever works for you. Continue.
不修其他的法门，不要看书，不要净睡觉，也不要修这个什么 yoga。你这一修。
Do not practice other Dharma doors. Do not read books. Do not sleep all the time. Do not practice yoga either.
This is why I differ with him. I say you can practice any Dharma doors you like. You practice Taoist Dharma door, you practice your praying to God, your Jesus, that's perfectly okay with me. Practice praying to Vishnu, perfectly okay with me. Okay? You can read books. You can sleep all the time you want. I tell you this. You can sleep all the time, and then eventually you're so full of qi, you have qi, that you say, I don't feel like sleeping anymore. Okay? We don't need to be so rigid. do not practice yoga. I used to have a student who practiced yoga and walks around and plant the head and do a headstand and walk around, do a headstand around here. Okay? Or people come here in my temple and dancing. Perfectly okay with me. As long as you don't harm my people, you make a fool of yourself, perfectly okay. You want to dance in front of us, we don't not realizing, that who we are is perfectly okay with me. Okay? Be open-minded. You can practice anything you like. You don't need to practice our Dharma doors. This is an environment for you to practice. It's an ideal environment for you, place for you to practice. That's all. You want instruction, we give you instruction. You don't want instruction, it's okay too. Okay? It's open for everyone. But if you're not, you're not doing the Buddhist Dharma doors, respect our rules and regulations. Don't make a fool of yourself. Next. Because I know we're so loose, so open-minded because it works for our disciples. We do it because I know it works. It's not all those rules that the Chinese impose are for good reason, but I feel that it's no longer effective for our times because it will eliminate too many of you. And every time we do a Chan Qi here, Fo Qi here, is we are actually helping you plant the seeds on the blessings for you to become enlightened or go to the Pure Land. That's why I want you to be around as long as you can. Trying your best, that's all I ask of you. Okay? And this is where the Chinese fall short, the Japanese fall short. There's no need to be this rigid. There you go.
这个你一脚扎着两只船。
When you cultivate, if you have a foot on two boats.
And he's referring to you here, doing a Chan Qi, and you are, this is Buddhist Chan Qi. You don't want to put one foot on a Buddhist boat and another foot on another type of thing. You don't want even to put a foot on the Mahayana Buddhist boat and the other foot in a Hinayana Buddhist boat. Okay, you should commit. I don't have a problem with that. Don't have to commit. It's too rigid. Okay, there's no need for that. I don't care whatever you do, just don't quit. That's the only rule I have. The one requirement is that for the Qi host is that the Qi host has to be able to eat any kind of crap you throw at him. And not get afflicted. Or not getting too afflicted too often. Okay? The Chinese work for them. I work for them for a long, long time. And I'm afraid that it's not working for them anymore because I don't see the young Chinese being trained. I don't see the young Koreans being trained. I don't see the young Vietnamese being trained, the young Japs being trained, and so forth. We have to change. You have to be more flexible. Or I see these Japanese and these Chinese who've been practicing for a long time, they're getting nowhere. To me, is unacceptable. Because for me, as a professional, I would not want to waste your time like this. Continue.
又想到江北，又想到江南。
If you want to go to north of the Yangtze River and also to the south of the Yangtze River,
结果江北你也去不了，江南你也不能到，因为你的
at the end you will not be able to go to north of the Yangtze River or south of the Yangtze River.
This is why I differ from the Chinese teachers. I want you to go anywhere you want. And then because I can handle you go any way, which way you want, I still can teach you. Just like you want to do yoga, I will let you do yoga until it's time for me to teach you, I will teach you. Okay? There's no need to do this. Okay? Two Chinese. Yes, 5.
This is from Cordelia. Master DTT has Buddha Hall and Chan Hall. Which hall is least disruptive for everyone to hang out? Emitofuo.
Right now, he can hang out anywhere he feels like. But if, because there's still construction remodeling going on there, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot, and I apologize for that. We're trying our best to get up there and to finish it. So we do a lot of things in-house. We save some having to pay the people unless we must. But the disadvantage is that it's taking us like 9 months now. We're still not done yet. That's how it goes. And so I apologize. Normally most temples would hire a contractor, a construction specialist, and they would get it done very quickly and have a real temple open. But for us, number one, we cannot afford. We don't have the money to pay for a real contractor. Number two, if I did, then my disciples would not have a chance to create blessings themselves. If I go and spend money to hire someone to cook for me, like at the Korean temples, then my disciples will have not a chance to plant blessings by cooking for us. No, it doesn't taste as good as a professional cook, but it's not about the food. It's about your chance to plant blessings, to create blessings yourself. Okay, so our approach is different. So for in this case here, he's not ready, so he can go and play anywhere he feels like. But when there are people who are cultivating, for example, when let's say they finish the Chan Hall or the Buddha Hall, and they're working somewhere else, and eventually. We should have, when you see people cultivating, practicing, then keep Evan away from those people, if possible. Okay, that would help. So, for example, in the future, when let's say we finished the work there, construction there, and now we have both the Chan halls and Buddha hall, then choose one. So that he can roam around or go downstairs or, or whatever, okay? We also want our children, your children, to come to our temple too during the Qis, okay? Yes, 5.
A comment from Vicky. Emitofuo Master, thank you for allowing this Filipino-American to attend your Chanchi for many years. I especially am grateful that you and your sangha accept me. You still allow me to come. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Again, all of you have been coming for a long, long time. It's not easy, I know, especially when we first started. It was very tough for you. We didn't have the resources. We very small, and and didn't have a lot of things. You came, and you came for an hour, you came for 2 hours, you came for 1 day or 2 days, and so forth. We still put on 10 weeks, 11 weeks, because a lot of people came, maybe even for short durations. So more chances for everyone. And that's why it worked for us. It worked for us because it's real. That's all you have. Okay? And I am grateful for all the support you've given us, and in particular all these beings who came here from very far to practice with us and put up with all your lack of etiquette and your stupidity, and that's how we got here today, and we're not going to change. Okay, because it works. Our Chan technology is far more advanced than the Chinese. Let me tell you right now. The proof is your level, your attainment. If you did the Chinese style, as I was at the Chinese style, I looked at the Asian style of doing the cheese. I feel that it is serving only a narrow group, a small group of people who has potential, that's all. It's not good enough for me. Okay? I've been to, for example, Korean temple, I see the Sonbang, where they have, these people who practice for 3 months intensively, very intensive practice for them. And then they take 3 months off, they go back 3 months again, year after year. Okay? Every quarter they do that, year round. It's very impressive. And I saw many who got to the range, okay? And many of them say, I've been doing this Sonbang and I was an abbot. I don't want to do abbot. I'd rather go to Sonbang and practice and so forth. And these people are very serious. You know what? All those practices, okay? And they've been practicing for 10 years. Our people only get to the same level in about months. That's how good our people are. So don't sell yourself short, okay? So we have people improving from low level to high level, improving so quickly. You ask them, how do you get there? I don't know. And that's the Chan Qi we have. That's all the practices we have. If you knew how I'm training you, I can't train you anymore. I keep on telling you that, but you don't realize it. These Chinese, they come there and say, oh, I can't breathe, I can't make noise, I can't get up. Okay? And they call it Chan Qi, and they call it Fo Qi, and so forth. Okay? They're stuck on that already. You see that? And that's one way for low-level people. But we don't need to have those constraints because that's not necessary for you to be trained. Okay? Back then it's easier for you to do that. Each style has its advantages and disadvantages. I feel that our style is more advantageous for our times than theirs. I've seen it. I've seen it for the last 25 years. Okay? Their style, they're getting nowhere. And we cannot afford to let it continue to happen. Okay, that's why I'm opening my big mouth and and say, hey, I'm not the same. We're not the same. We're training you differently. Take advantage while you still can. That's all you need to know. Because one day I retire and say, I have enough. I'd rather drive a red car somewhere in the warm weather. Enough of this nonsense. You're not paying me enough. Okay, continue, please. A few more minutes. I'm doing this because you are still improving like crazy. If you start improving, I say, I'm not going to waste my time. And don't sell yourself short as well. Just because you're low level right now doesn't mean you will not be able to surpass the one who's ahead of you. That's how dangerous you all are. I remember I said Xian Shun was like way ahead of all my disciples. I was chuckling. I said, what is the matter? Xian Shun is so stupid. I mean, I don't know how he got there. But then the rest of you is much smarter. How come you... You never know. That's the nature of the training. You never sell yourself short. Everyone has a fair chance. So try your best. That's the nature of the Sutton teaching. Continue.
一个脚啊踩着两只船，哪个地方也不能去。
Because your own foot is on two boats, you can't get to anywhere.
Yes, physically it's true, but it's not necessarily a limiting factor, especially for me. Let me tell you, this is where the Chinese thinking to me and the way they speak is a little bit self-limiting. Because he says, you're straddling two boats, so the boats are going different directions. Eventually, you can't stay on either boat anymore. You have to choose one. Okay? That's true, physically. It turns out, though, in the actual practice itself, you're always straddling. You always have to choose. That's why I'm not that keen about you having to commit to one or the other. You can commit you don't have to commit until you choose to commit yourself, because you are smart. Eventually, when you're straddling two boats like this, okay, and your boats are getting further and further away from each other, guess what's going to happen? For most of you, unless you're Xian Shun, she will fall into the river. But most of you will choose one. Agree, Xian Shun? 8, yes, defend yourself.
I had to fall into the water.
Then she falls into the water and then she chooses a boat and she swim after one boat. It works too, trust me. So I will allow her to straddle as well. You see, you have to accommodate all of you and your own quirks. And then next time she said, I don't want to get wet. I better choose one, because as soon you are always straddling. So this thing here, to me, I disagree with the Chinese style of teaching. It's not necessary. We are all straddling, right? But typically, for example, for you before you get married, you were looking at 2 girls, right? Or 2 boys, yes? You said, this one has safety, that one is more fun. Which one do I choose now? Huh? And so you straddle until the last minute, and then you commit. That's life. Why shouldn't you? I encourage you to straddle. That's how we are. That's how smart people are. And you fall often into the river, and then you learn to be smarter. That's all. So the technology has to accommodate all sorts of levels. No need to say, you can't straddle. Straddle all you want. You learn yourself. Yes, in the back.
Master, so you encourage each of us should have two before we married?
No, I'm only reminding most of you who went through it. I will tell you, most of you have said, this one and this one, which one do I choose? Until the last minute, and either 1 or 0, you have to choose that as well, right? That's what we do. We always narrow it down to 2, okay? That's how we are. But you say, no, you're the only person for me. Yeah. After I chose, yes. Not before. Just like you have many temples. You're choosing one and with 20, and then you got down to 1 versus 19 and 18 and so forth, and that's how it works. There's no point saying you can't straddle all you want. Go first.
Emitofuo Master, regarding to 1 foot on 1 boat, I have a little bit experience with it. I used to join when I used to went down to Loom Mountain in Rosemead and joined the Chanchi in the summer. And in the winter, same years, I joined the Chanchi in CCTB. I did that for a few years from the beginning, maybe about 10, 12 years ago. I think the first or the second years I did that, I found out how can I express that?
Spit it out. Don't have to be polite. We don't have time to be polite.
The schedule we follow and the way we practice is much harder than
Seriously?
up north. Yeah, much harder than up north because I felt very boring after 1 or 2 years to attend the winter Chanchi up north because the very limited schedule. They cut down the sit only about 8 or 10 sits instead of we follow 14 sits, and the master used to sit with us, so we have to follow the schedule all day round. And in the few years, I stopped attend the Chanchi up north anymore, and also the result after the Chanchi. Normally, I feel very strong tea and feel very good. In about 2-3 months after the summer Chanchi I attend at Loom Mountain, but up north the same thing, but maybe a couple of weeks after that I'm back to normal again. So I feel the very big effect that helped me through the work, helped me through physically that attend our Chanchi at Loom Mountain. And recently, Master lacks on the Buddha Hall, and we come and go and join the Chanchi and whenever we have time. But even though that, I think the effect of for me, the effect of joining the Chanchi at Loom Mountain or at here at Go Force, I still get a lot out of it. And I think with the way we practice here is in comparison, so maybe it's about hundreds or maybe 500 times or maybe 1,000 times more than what I get from CTTB. So that's my comparison. Yeah.
Thank you. we're not going to mention his name, okay? But that's what happens to a lot of people. Some people who are able, this is what happened to people. They go to different temples. No point in being worried, being afraid that they go to another temple and they're not coming back. I mean, you should be free to go and seek different instructions, okay, and try different experiences. That's part of your cultivation too. Okay, there's no need to commit. It's perfectly okay to straddle boats. And naturally, you choose something that works for you. And I hope whatever, if you choose something that works for you, I'm happy for you. You don't have to be here, you know. You can go and do whatever you wish to do. The whole thing, the spirit of the Chanchi is to try our best to benefit you. That's all we could. From our perspective, that's all we care about. Okay? During this period here, we benefit. We try to help everyone who comes and practice. That's all. That's all we do. And if while we have a chance to do that, we're glad to do it. That's all. There's no need to worry about, what do I get out of it and so forth. We're supposed to be here to help you. That's all we do. Okay? That's the nature of our work. Yes, any other commentary? It turns out, by the way, that the reason I'm look at when Master Shihao talked about having straddling two boats, I see you straddle all the time. Why is that? The nature of Dharma in ending age is that you cannot tell one teacher from the other anymore. So it's perfectly normal for you to straddle. Just like when you chose your spouse, you're supposed to straddle and try to go as far as you can to see how far you can go, And then you eventually commit. That's a natural thing. Same thing for you when you cultivate. Same exact thing. You're supposed to straddle, and we encourage you to straddle. And straddle, and straddle, and straddle. And we hope you find something that works for you. That's all that matters to me personally. Okay? Because I want to feel good about myself at night. I go home, okay? And I know that we gave everything we could to you, and that's good enough for me. Okay? I'm not, ultimately for me, is that I need to be happy with myself. Did I give you what I have? Okay, that's my practice. And I hope it's good enough for you. It's not good enough for you, and you have to straddle, and I have to improve. I have to do better and better and better and better. Does it make sense? I want you to understand that all of you who put on cheese and all of you abbots and vice abbots and so forth, this is our philosophy. We try to help them. Okay? And we have to keep on trying harder and harder and harder. We don't say that next year, okay, we have a lot of success, we have a lot of track record now it's time to rest on our laurels. No, we continue to improve. Because one more person who walks in there, I'm learning more from that new person how to be a better teacher. Okay? And I came from nowhere, and that's why it's normal for people to straddle boats. YongHua, for example, only wants to learn Pure Land. And so she's straddling like at least 100 boats, maybe more like 1,000. At least few hundred. Their group, they invited this teacher to go speak Dharma for them, and the next teacher and go speak Dharma for them and so forth. They rotate them around and so forth, round and round, round and round. Okay? That's perfectly normal. It's a good thing. But eventually, Eventually, there will come a time when I say, wait a minute, I've been doing this for so long, and it's just like Jung just said, I've been this, and so this teacher is not working for me, that's not, that's fine, so that's not work with that teacher anymore, and so forth. It's a natural thing to straddle. It's perfectly okay. Even now, you can leave our temple, and you go straddle another temple, go for it. I won't get offended. Whatever works for you. That's why you, boys and girls, have to remember, we try our best, that's all. That's all we ask of ourselves. Whatever people will get out of it, we try our best. And we need to try even harder next year, and the next year, and the following year, and so forth. That's our style. We don't get rest in our laurels and say, we don't have that luxury. I have no one to back me up. I don't have a master who says, I refuse all of them. I didn't want to be associated with all of them. They wanted me to be associated with them. I said, no. I don't like the way you do things. Okay? So that's why we have to constantly prove ourselves and keep improving. We never rest on our laurels. So that's why it's so dangerous nowadays. Before, you came to my temple, I have nothing else to do, so I had to sit here and meditate with you. Now I have so much work that I can't sit with you anymore. Okay, I sit with you and then I can't text. And I can't text and I cannot do the other work. I can't talk on the phone. I can't get on my computer. I can't do my work. So I have to come up with other ways to help you. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. I very much appreciate you expressing your openness and flexibility for us to straddle. I think it's important for me personally to express to people who are straddling, when you pick a boat and commit to it, it can be a wonderful experience.
Listen, folks, let's be honest about it. I'm straddling too. I'm straddling among 20 of you. You see that? These teachers, they said, I'm going to pick you because you have the most potential. I'm going to put all my investment in you. And that's a mistake. I straddle too. Because you'll be progressing at different rate, and it doesn't matter as long you get there. And it's all that matters to me is how far you can go. So why not straddle myself? Just in case I pick wrong. So I feel that sometimes the Chinese is too rigid. The instruction is for the average. Okay? The range is too narrow. I want to expand the range because this is America, this is American. We want to give everyone the same opportunity. We don't discriminate. We straddle like hell ourselves. Okay? We straddle each and every one of you and give you a chance, and ourselves a chance to learn and improve. It's work both ways, folks. It's like these people say, I know, so I'm going to teach you. This is the best way for me to teach you. I say, it's no best way. I'm learning. Okay? You straddle, I straddle too. You go to temples, I choose among thousands of my disciples and millions of my disciples too. Guess who's a better straddler? Me, not you. Let's be honest about it. You think highly of yourself, but I don't. That's why I need to straddle. It used to be so sad. I look at my disciples. Look, why are you so low compared to Xian Shun? What the heck am I going to do with my life? So do I invest only in Xian Shun and ignore the rest of you? I straddle. And look at where it got us. Yes, Xian Shun, dear.
Master, is it fair to say that you're allowing us to make a choice?
We're allowing all of us to have choices. And this is wrong for me. To me, it's wrong for the Chinese or the Koreans or the Thai people to only pick one person and you're going to be my successor because you have the best potential, you listen to me, you're loyal to me and so forth, okay? It's perfectly okay for you to be disloyal and so forth because this person can be loyal, but he cannot get very far. This person is disloyal, but once that problem is resolved, she can go a lot further. You see, people change, people adapt. People evolve. And that's what Mahayana is about. We need to embrace everyone, not be so rigid. I feel that the Asian style is a little bit too rigid, too narrow. It worked for them, but it doesn't work anymore in our times. Because, again, my reference is like Master Huineng or the other. Unfortunately, I didn't have much information about how Master Wei Shan taught his disciple, Yang Shan taught his disciples. That's why I'm so impressed. It's so advanced that no one can appreciate what they did. Even when you look at Master Huineng's teaching, it is so profound that you guys don't appreciate what he's doing to his disciples. It's incredible. Yes.
Thank you, Master. Before coming to Lu Mountain, Wei Mountain, Venerable Sentong and I usually go to different Vietnamese temples. And I often hear about do not straddling, our foot on two boats. So we have to choose between meditation or Pure Land.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So I say, yeah, it makes sense because then we have to focus on one. Otherwise, we cannot, go anywhere if we just go and practice two methods at the same time. But then when I came here, you taught us to combine Chan and also chanting Pure Land together. I found it's very, they're both supporting of each other and it's very helpful. And I thank you for that.
You're welcome. I just want to tell all of you, you don't know how I'm training all of you. You show up at our temples, you hang around long enough, you don't quit in spite of the difficulties, in spite of Xian Shun, in spite of Xian Tong, in spite of Xian something, okay? All of them are gonna cause you a lot of grief, okay? And that's part of your training. I'll be blunt with you. It's part of all your training. You need to put up with them. You need to put up with each other. You don't quit, okay? Then I have a chance to train you. When your time comes, your turn will come, okay? You will get your turn, that's all. You don't quit. That's all there is to it. The Chanqi, same thing. You try your best, that's all. And it's a lot more difficult, you realize, because our tests are much tougher. Here's what happened to the Chinese and the Koreans and the Vietnamese. They say, I follow the rules, okay? I get up and I follow that. And you don't realize that those are a sort of narrow tests only. If you do that, you are in that range where you are safe. Ours is all over. Our tests are much harder than you think. Our training is far harder than people realize. And that's why most people quit. They can't take it. Go forth.
Emitofuo Master. Regarding to Master YongHua talk about no talk are not supposed to talk to each other unless it's necessary or important. I've been to a chanty which not allowed to talk for about the whole week. I think I did that one or twice. I don't even say anything in a week or so. I think it helps. It helps that you really feel good about that. Your mind settle down and you're in the bliss here and there. But I think that's good for a beginner. For us, I really like the way we practice here at the temple, that we talk to our cultivator or the newcomer or explain things if it's necessary. We talk at lunchtime and we enjoy the meal together. And if we want to, when we get back to the Buddha hall, we look inside and we meditate. I think the way we practice is more unnatural to me, and the bliss we have also it makes me more happier and than before, because if before the rule, you follow the rule, you sit still, you don't talk, you don't look up and down, west or east. It like you force yourself into the bliss of yourself without regarding to other people. Which I really enjoyed it, but lately I think here when we at lunchtime or when we talk, and when we cultivate, it works much better for me in that way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Master.
Yeah, that it works far better. You don't realize how much more effective it is for you to chant chi like that. Let me give you this tip. Eventually, there will be a time when you're good enough, I will put you away. I will hide you from everyone so that you can do the chant chi and follow the schedule and not talk and all those things. All those Dharma doors we do. But it's not effective right now. In the future, they will have places where we allow people to go into seclusion and do these things, do these chant chi and be very rigid, get 3 in the morning and you get up and you so forth. There's a reason for that, okay? It works. But it's for a different purpose, okay? So our approach is different. The Chinese is too narrow. Because I prefer for you to go up there and be exposed to all this, and then do the more narrow style of practice, like the Chinese they do it here. It's fine. That is because you have no advisor. That's why you need to do this. When you have a teacher, a good no advisor, you don't want to go into too narrow with the thing here. That's ineffective to me. Yes, 5.
We have 3 comments and 1 question. The comment from Daniel Wisniewski. Emitofuo Master, thank you and the sangha for having such great faith in us, more than even what we have in ourselves. This is very inspiring. Emitofuo. From Nur 1596, thank you for opening our mind, Master. DTT Daniel, am I being trained? Also, he's asking, Master, would I classify as quitting because I can go to the temple?
As long as you don't quit, you're being trained. Because you can tell one of these days that, you know what, you should move on. because I can't help you anymore. Okay? Our training is a lot, I feel is a lot better than the Asian style of training. Asian style is too slow for me. I don't like it. I went through it. I didn't like it. And that's why I call it American Chan, American Wei Yang. We don't do it like the Chinese of recent history anymore, because I feel that it doesn't work for the 21st century anymore. It doesn't work in Korea, it doesn't work in Vietnam, it doesn't work in Myanmar, it doesn't work here. It doesn't work in China anymore. Because I don't see people being trained. If it works, I would steal it from them. I have no problem stealing. If it's a good thing, I would steal. I borrow, not steal. Yes, 8.
Master, when I first came to the temple, it was mainly because Joseph had peanut allergies. So I had no idea what I was doing here. It was just more for entertainment. Originally. And then I got a lot of help from someone. And back then I really didn't know what was going on. So then I improved, and then after that I plateaued because I still didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't know what cultivation was. And it wasn't until I fell into the water, into the ocean, that's when I had to ask myself a question, and then I started changing.
Some people are late bloomers. Like the Korean education system, French education system, they screen them out so fast, so that it forces you to excel immediately. Otherwise, you get shoved into, lesser channels. Okay, whereas that means that the late bloomers don't have a chance. It turns out, what if the late bloomers can go further than the early bloomers? Aren't you losing an opportunity? Same thing. The old abbot there of San Francisco, he's a late bloomer. He had to prepare his entire life to accept our Dharma, and he had to go through a lot of tests. And now he's a lot further ahead than Master YongHua Chinese style trained students. You see? So that's why I have the information. That's why I stick to my guns and say, no, I'm not Chinese. You Chinese style, I don't like it. It's not good enough for our people, not good enough for our times. There's so many people with so much potential, and that we brought up there because we didn't follow the Chinese style. And if you happen to prefer the Chinese style, Korean style, Japanese style, good for you. There's nothing wrong with that. Perfectly okay. Losers. Just kidding. Okay, that's enough for tonight. Thank you everyone for your input. This is what it's about. We learn from each other. You're free to speak your mind. And you say, Master, I don't like it. It's perfectly okay with me too. We just let out air from your tires, that's all. For making me lose face publicly, in public. I'm not above revenge. Okay. But we all speaking Dharma. That has always been our approach. When you open your mouth, make commentary, I'm learning something from you as well. Okay? It's a mutual learning. Truly is, I feel. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope you become enlightened tonight.